All right, guys, we're live right now. We got myself, Brian Littleton, and we got Wade Cross in, and we're waiting on one more guy, Dusty, to come on. So we'll kind of go ahead and start with Wade a little bit. Wade, I appreciate you coming on. I know it's a busy time of year right now for you, so I know 30 minutes out of your time is quite a bit. Kind of tell me how the year's going, and I know we've been all over the country doing classes, so that kept you busy. But how's the shock business right now?
That's real good. I definitely can't complain. This time of year it's usually pretty crazy, and this is no year any different than the rest of them. Just trying to keep everybody happy, trying to keep up with orders and all the one-off stuff and things like that. The UPS guy likes me a whole lot, so.
Yeah, I know. I talked to you the other day, and he's working Sunday morning early, so. I mean, I know it's a crazy time of the year for you. So,
yep.
What are you going out right now? What kind of shocks, Wade? Just a little bit of everything?
Yeah. I mean, everything. Stock car modified, a lot of hobby stock stuff, a lot of G body stuff in general, whether it's a IMCA or USR. I mean, just every sanctioned body out there, along with some of the outlaw stuff out east, and it's just a conglomeration of everything. So.
Wade, we'll let some more people get on. Let Dusty try to get on. I guess maybe a dumb question, but what's new in the shock world this year? Is there anything trick out there? Anything guys are doing different?
Well, I mean, it's hard. It's this is my 22nd year, so I mean, I don't get oohed and awed much anymore. But I tell you what I find is just stuff that I stumble across. Probably one of my biggest things is I've had about 4 different dynos since I've been doing this, and I got this last dyno I bought was kind of on a recommendation thing, and man, it opened up my eyes to a lot of stuff that I think I was maybe missing. I won't say that my stuff, anything I ever went out the door was ever bad quality. It just, I just couldn't see things that I see now. And a lot of that's got to do with software and just, people that write it, and just extremely smart groups of people that design these machines. And, from the dyno standpoint, we definitely learned a lot, definitely picked up a lot, definitely seen some of the stuff I was doing right. That I never could see before, and some of the stuff that I was doing wrong that I never knew I could find. So, and no, I definitely think my stuff's improved a whole lot, just because of a dyno and of this new latest dyno I got, and it's kind of set me off into a different area looking stuff and just trying to pick up stuff. So, yeah, so. Okay, yep. I just got a message from Dusty. Says he's trying to get logged on.
That's fine. We got a little time to get going. Like we got quite a few people on, and guys out there, if you got any questions for Wade in particular, try to keep them short and sweet, and he'll try to answer them on about any kind of shock question. Why he's drinking his green beer.
Yep, it's St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, and I'm wearing blue. I guess I'll get pinched or something. Wade, I guess we can talk a little bit. You've been, how long do we say you've been doing classes with me? 5 or 6 years now, is that right?
I think we did our first class. I did my first class with you guys. It would have been in Minnesota, and it had been 2015, probably. Would that have been November of 2015? Does that sound right? Maybe late.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Late October, something like that, yeah.
And I know when we first asked you, you was kind of overwhelmed a little bit, but man, I think we've came a long ways in what we're doing in the races we've built across the country. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, and I mean we've definitely I've kind of had to change the model a little bit as it's went on, because racers have gotten as racers have gotten more and more I don't know how to word it, more adept, and they've I'll notice the guys just ask a lot more wise questions. I mean, just really smart bunch of guys, and racers are getting brighter and smarter. And I mean, it's causing guys like us that we've got to reach out, we've got to dig for more material, we've got to do a better job, we've got to show as much as we can you know, and keep digging. I mean, you know, to stay in this industry, you can't ever be content for 1 second. And any of the racers know, as a driver, you can't ever be content. You can't ever let your program ever relax, because there's so many other guys that if you're on top of anything, they want to be right where you're at and knock you off. So you've got to stay on, got to stay up. And I've noticed that as things have progressed, that it has definitely gotten, can you hear us, Nessie?
I can. Thanks, guys.
Good, good. Okay, yeah. I'll just
Appreciate you coming on, Dusty. I know it's a little bit of a hassle here, but once you do it, it's pretty easy. You know, Dusty, I'll get you on here in just a second. We was going over some things with Wade. You know, Wade, I think probably the best compliment I had a guy tell me this year. He had actually went to another chassis school, and you know, I said, hey, you know, what's the difference? You know, what are we doing right? What are they doing right? And he said, you know, Brian, at the end of the day, he said, you guys are a family, and that he's made friends and contacts doing this, you know, and it's really helped him out, you know, as a big family. So, you know, I thought that was a huge compliment. And I do feel that way. It's more than a one-shot deal. You know, a lot of you guys help some of these guys throughout the year, help their program. So, you know, we definitely came a long ways. I've done it 20 years. And when I first started, we had a 5-page booklet. It cost $25 in a shop in my hometown. You know, we didn't even know what we were doing. And every year I've always tried to add different guys and, you know, a little bit different philosophy, but I always stuck to my roots of helping the racer and not trying to sell them a bunch of parts while we were there, you know, and I think we've always stuck with that. You know, I think there's been a time or two that we kind of felt like things maybe wasn't going where they should, and we've had to kind of reel it in, but man, it's been a ride, you know, and I think this year was no different. I know Dusty went to the Mike Nichols class. Dusty, give us a little bit of insight on that. Are you a new racer? You've been racing a long time. I mean, kind of what's your background?
I have raced quite a while. Yes, we started racing in go-karts when I was a little kid, you know, and stuff's progressed so much, you know. You need to go to classes like yours, talk to people like Wade. From where I started to where I am now, you know, from where I started, I knew some stuff. Now I'm scratching my head wondering, what am I missing? You know, so I go to your guys' class. I talk to Wade. I listen to Mike. I mean, we go to these things, and, you know, that's what I got out of that deal for dang sure.
Yeah. I mean, and I think we get that a lot, you know, that a guy like Mike Nichols, you know, he don't have to have no introduction. You know, everybody knows him, and he's 100% open book, and he always has been from day one. And I don't think he leaves anything on the table. I mean, Wade, I think the first one he ever done, he's like, Mike, you're giving guys all these information, and it just blows me away. And you can probably elaborate on that a little bit, Wade.
Yeah, you know, I've been doing Mike's shocks for, I mean, a long time. I don't even know when we hooked up together. It was, you know, early in his run of national titles, and I think he's up to 9 now. So I mean, I want to say we got together about number 1.5 or something like that, and or 2 or something like that. And you know, Mike has the way he does things, and I mean, me and him don't always. It's not that we don't agree; it's just that what works for him doesn't always work for everybody else. And so, you know, we had kind of we've had to kind of cross that bridge. But you know, he's really an open book. It just floors me. You know, to speak about what you were talking about there, the first time I'd ever done a class with him. I mean, I already had a relationship with Mike. I'd already known him for a long time. I'd already been building his shocks for years. And so he invited me to do, and him and Brian both invited me to come do this class with him up there. And I remember being halfway through it. This is just my story here. I remember being halfway through the class. Actually, what it was is we went to first break. And I hadn't done any talking yet, hadn't done any presentation, but I pulled Michael to the side. I'm like, I can't believe, because I raced. I was very competitive, and I was very competitive in my mind and in every way that I could be. Mike did, you know, and I think a lot of racers are kind of the same way. You know, he tells you everything. That's kind of what separates him. And I mean, this is the thing. Like I said, I talked to him at the class, pulled him over at break, and I said, why? I mean, I can't believe you're giving these goods out. I mean, this is really, I mean, I've been listening to race and stuff my whole life, and I'm learning a lot just by being here. But I can't believe you're telling them these secrets. I mean, these are the things that you're telling these guys. I know for a fact are absolutely going to help them. And you know, Mike's response is, he goes, you know, I mean, this is why we're here. This is why we do it. He goes, you know, the thing is, probably the most humbling thing when it comes to racing is Mike outworks a lot of people, and the classes will overwhelm people because they'll be like, how can you work this hard on your stuff? Because it's amazing. I mean, when Mike's his maintenance program is just nuts, and guys don't realize that, hey, these are all the things that you do, and you have to do it every week, and you have to do it every night if you can, squeeze it in. And it's you know, that's what's so many things that separates men from the boys. And of course, Mike Nichols can, you know, real freaking stock car like it's nothing, you know. So I think that's what I think. Of course, you know, again, that's what separates Mike from a lot of things. But his ability to talk to people, and I mean, it just the points that he makes across, and I mean, he's very, very good at talking to people. And I think guys, I'll just say this: of all the classes I've been to, because I've done several without Mike. And he really does reach the racer, the racer in a way that I really like. I think there's a lot more Q&A when that guy's on the table. If you've ever noticed that, Brian, a lot of questions get asked when we're at Mike Nichols' class. I mean, I guess that's probably the best way to put it, because I feel like guys like that, when they bring it down to a level that, you know, and I'm not trying to say the racers that we need to dumb things down for the racers, but there's no reason to get so technical that we talk over everybody's heads. And this is one thing that I hear a lot from guys that go to other classes, go to other, you know, because there's plenty of chassis schools out there, and you know, shop seminars and all these things. I feel like some of these guys, they talk clear over their head, and I don't think they're meaning to do it. They just do it. And the obvious is when nobody's asking questions, you know that we're not all on the same page anymore when we don't get questions. So usually I've never been to a Mike Nichols class that didn't go an hour and a half longer every single day.
Right.
Because it just
Dusty, do you have something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like I said, I'm really new to this, guys, so I apologize. But you know, you go through this whole class with Mike Nichols, Wade Cross, Ben Baker, these guys. Not only do you sit there and learn and listen, take notes, write down like you're in high school and college trying to write this stuff down. Then they send you the whole book home that has everything in there that they went over. You know, I mean, that was amazing. And you can figure it out, make notes. My book, I almost need a new one because I got stuff wrote in there and over things, trying to keep track of what was going on, you know. And then Wade's so right on the talking over your head thing, you know. I got some shocks from Wade. We visited on the phone the other day forever. I feel like I totally understand him right now just because he talks at your level, you know. It's a really good deal.
Go ahead, Wade.
Well, I was going to say, you know, to go on with, you know, the book that he's talking about. What I think is the new dynamic, and maybe Brian was already going to head there, is the online stuff that's going with it now. The class available after for the guys that can't come, and it's available online because, you know, now the classes are all are taped, and I think Brian could probably elaborate a little bit better on that. But you know, I'll be honest, at first I wasn't on board for that. I mean, when Brian first told me about it, I'm like, I just don't know if this is a good idea or not. Well, now that I see how important it is, it's a no-brainer. It needs to happen every single time because guys can get to reference it, and it's a great tool. And you know, Dustin, you know, anything you don't see in your book, I guarantee you go watch the class, and you're gonna see stuff that you miss, because I know I always do.
Yeah, you know, Wade.
For sure, 100% right.
You know, it's something, and that's something, you know, me and you talked about different type classes through the years, and we ain't always agreed, but I think in the end, we kind of seen each other's side. Wade's one of my go-to guys when I try something stupid. You know, I call him and Wade, I woke up in the middle of the night last night and I thought of this, and then we'll kind of hash it out. But, you know, the online deal, I'll give everybody a quick rundown of it. I've been asked several times by IMCA TV and a couple of them, would I do it? And I just was never comfortable with that. And I won't get into the reasons. I just wasn't. And I met Kate Dillon, the first class, one of the first ones we done down south with Justin McCree through Wade. And when I met Kate, you know, me and her business, she said, well, Brian, I'm here anyway, and I do a lot of videos. She said, why don't we try this deal? Just try it one time. Let's see how it goes. And so we did it last year. And it just, of course, you know, COVID was here, and, you know, that had to play in. But, you know, the world's changed and people change. I mean, you know, 5 years ago, we've been doing live broadcasts on a Wednesday night. You probably not, you know. So, you know, I think now that was something new I offered this year was not only get to come to class for a certain price, I let everybody in the class have it free. Yep. And I thought that was, you know, something I wanted to add. I always try to add a little value to it, you know, because we're all just work for a living and just trying to race when you can. And, you know, I'm going to post a couple of deals here on the bottom, Wade, so you can read some of this. But, you know, it's just something I wanted to add to it. And then, you know, there's guys across the country. We had guys from California and Colorado and all over the United States, Oregon. But there's guys that can't come, you know, either couldn't afford it, wrong weekend or whatever. So now they can go on and buy the online version, and it's got the book on there. So, you know, I think it's just another way to try to continue to help racers out there. And there's a lot of work. Kate Dillon, if anybody knows it, I know Wade's got to know her well. There's not a classier lady in racing. And no, I mean, she's no dummy and very, very smart lady. She's taught me a lot. I wouldn't be where I'm at probably today without her guidance on some things. And, you know, it's been big. So, you know, I definitely agree that the, you know, the online version has brought whole nother aspect to it. And you know, something I added this year, it may be kind of silly to some, but, you know, I bought the big screen TV and, you know, I thought that was huge, and guys maybe that wasn't set on the road could see, you know, with all the camera angles and all could see the class. So, you know, we're always trying to make this deal better and help racers out and, you know, try to find ways to improve the class. And, you know, I know Wade added a little more to it this year. He does several with me a year, or at least a couple. I think we learn each time. You know, it's good to hear from guys like Dusty that win and, you know, learn something from the program, because at the end of the day, you know, you spend $350 for the class and, you know, $200 or $300 to drive there and motels and all. So you got quite a bit of money tied up in the weekend. But, you know, if it saves you a set of tires or you know, something like that, you know, it's definitely worth it. You know, Dusty, what's some of the things that you feel like that you took out of the class in particular that's going to help your program this year?
I'll tell you, Brian, definitely, and Wade and I were visiting the other day about some shocks and stuff. Can't wait to get going on those. Anyway, I told Wade, I said, I feel like I picked up on 1,000 little things that you don't think about throughout the race. You just being your normal old Joe racer that works all day Friday and busts his butt to get to the track Friday night, you know, and the little things that I picked up on at the Racelogic's class, I mean, was amazing, you know, and I think I seriously feel I'm starting the 2021 season already ahead of the game from just the little things that I picked up on there that I didn't know about. Stuff you don't think about, stuff you just space off, you know. Yep, changed my oil, I washed the car, I cleaned out the radiator. Yep, we should be ready to go. Gas is full. You know, it's the little things. It's almost like a behind the scenes thing that you pick up on, you know, and that's kind of my take on the class there. It's the best money I've ever spent in racing. I mean it. It really is. I learned a lot there.
Well, you know, that's great to hear. I mean, and I always tell people, I never really like to do these live deals. I talked to Wade about it, and I'm like, man, for one, I got to face the radio, you know, and but I think it's important. And Kate Dillon's one that taught me that, because, you know, sometimes I don't look at myself. This has never been about me. It's always been about the guys I got around me, because I'm a nobody. I had a guy call me today about the late model class and wanted to know something about his J-bar angle. I said, man, if I tell you anything about that, you're going to end up in somewhere. So, you know, I'm not that guy. But, you know, I got people around me, you know, surrounded around me that's made it what it is today, you know, and I'm proud of that. You know, I do realize, you know, that there is other classes and other options. And, you know, I've took a little criticism this year, and I won't get in long depth on that. And it really bothered me a little bit, you know, guys kind of, you know, talking about chassis schools and different things. And, you know, Robbie Bilberg, one of the other guys, which Wade knows well, really smart guy. He told me,
very smart guy. He
said, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, if you're getting comments, you're helping guys, you know, this may not be for everybody. I guarantee you, if you didn't leave there a little more knowledge of what you came with, you didn't listen to any class you do. Because these guys that I got lined up, yeah, you know, a guy like Dave Hammond, I mean, we all know Dave and love him. You know, guy may be a little rough around the edges, but I promise you, and Wade can agree, probably not anybody any smarter in America than that guy. You know?
And extremely practical. He's more practical than even me. He is very, very down to earth, but man, he makes life easier for a lot of people with his products.
And you know, I've been lucky. You know, Ben Baker's been doing these about 5 years, and he did a class by himself. I mean, the guy, I don't care if he's talking about a street car or an asphalt car or whatever, he knows a lot. And you know, I probably don't brag on them guys enough, but you know, all these people who do giveaways. I mean, there's guys, you know, we gave out, I think, for $20,000 worth of gift certificates. I gave out a couple of new fire stations this year, sets of shocks and stuff. You know, I don't ask for money. I don't take money from anybody, because I don't ever, you know, me and Wade's talked about this. The wind's blowing in Arkansas, you can't tell. But, you know, I never take money from them guys. The only thing I ever ask, if you want to be a part of this program, you're going to give back to the racer. And I've been fortunate that, you know, Fast Shafts, Dean, with Dirt Car Lift, I mean, there's just a lot of different guys.
Stone Boys have been great addition. The Stone Boys have been a great addition.
Oh, great guy. I talk to him on a regular basis, and you know, he does a pit skylights, and you know, they all kind of see what I'm trying to do. And like I said, I don't ever take money. That way I don't ever have to answer to them. Anybody I have to answer to is myself. You know, it's a deal to where if you don't, I'm reading here this big long comment, but anyway, you know, my big deal is, and I told Wade day one, and me and Wade's always hit it off. We're probably, Wade would probably agree, we're probably two opposite people. He loves rock and roll, and I'm a country guy. But you know what? At the end of the day, and I ain't just saying this because he's in front of the camera, there's not a better guy in, look at his head swelling. Now, there's not a better guy in motorsports. And he believes in what I'm doing. He keeps doing it every year. I call him, tell him when to be there, and he says, I'll be there. And I know he's got 500 shocks sitting on the shelf he needs to build. But, you know, we got to find ways more going, you know, and you know, I think knowledge is it, because things change and shocks change and front suspension changes. And, you know, so things have changed a lot. And, I think just got to keep, you know, I think we just got to keep this deal going and try to keep, you know, racers informed. And, you know, me and Wade talked. I mean, we went to the West Coast and I think, you know, Roy Bain's on here, and I think you'll agree, you know, them guys are behind a little bit just because they don't race much. You know, they don't get to see what happens in the Midwest. I mean, you'd be surprised at what they don't know. So, you know, we've traveled out east and west, and we've been all over the country, I think, Wade. When I told them I was going to Vegas a few years ago, they all told me I was crazy, and I said, yeah, I am, but we're going to do it anyway. And it's unbelievable. And I'll elaborate on that a little bit, and I know, you know, more guys are going to have comments and questions. I decided we was gonna go to Vegas and do some classes. I had some guys out there on me forever, and I thought, well, the only way I can make it work because it's so expensive is we done 4 classes in the same weekend under the same roof, right in the middle of a hotel. And man, I don't know if I could ever do that again. But I done it. Everybody said I couldn't do it, and that's why I done it, because I'm so hard-headed that, you know, my buddy Robert traveled across the country with my tractor and everything in it. We hauled the front end right through the middle of the casino in Vegas and right up to the floor and done these classes, you know. So, you know, I think there's a lot, you know, there's just a lot that I think we do right, and we're always trying to improve. Me and Wade talks after every class, things that went good and things didn't go good, you know. And I mean, it's hard. You got about 12 hours, you know, to try to teach these guys everything you can. And normally we do a day a day and a half. We could probably do 3 days, but you know, I look at it, I can't take off work, and most of you guys that are racers can't take off work that long. So we try to compact it down and make it to where guys get the best bang for their buck.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, if I recall right, the class I attended in Phillips, it surpassed the time frame that we actually had signed up for. You know, you go to classes, you spend your money, you know, it's an 8 to 5 deal. I don't recall getting out of there in that time. We didn't leave anything untouched. And it, you know, you guys all putting the class on, you weren't worried about time. You're worried about getting through everything you wanted to get touched on with the local Old Joe racers. And you know, I was very impressed by that. I really, really was.
Well, you know, you just kind of set a time frame and you hope you can get everything in that time frame. But, you know, with the weather and everything, I think we went a little bit late on Friday night, and being Valentine's weekend was another deal. And then I think we went a little bit late on Saturday on purpose. You know, I hated I had to leave, but I had a snowstorm in Arkansas of 10 inches, and we don't have 10 inches in the last 5 years. So I missed that by 2 hours. I got in at like 6:30 in the morning, and at 7:30 it started snowing. So, you know, I ended up getting home just in time. You know, Robert and Kevin, my guys, helped me. They all drove all night. I'm not real good driving in the middle of the night, but we got home in time. You know, Wade, you gonna do any racing this year? I know you got a new modified there. So, what's the plan?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the plan. I mean, if I don't, I think my wife's gonna brain me. But I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I'm sure I will. I've just got to. I've things have changed so much because, you know, I've changed. I mean, as we all get older, you know, I mean, all I cared about was racing my entire life since I was a little kid, and I mean, that's all I cared about ever. And then, you know, once you start getting a little bit older, you realize, well, here's how we pay for it, and that's kind of it's kind of taken hold, I guess. You know, I mean, I still live cheap. I mean, you're still your typical racer. I still live cheap, but I don't know. I've really enjoyed doing. I've really enjoyed doing stuff with the racers that I never ever thought before. All I ever want to do is beat them. Now I really get a kick out of helping them. And I mean, because, well, hell, I can't beat them. They're such friggin' good shoes now. I mean, they make everybody look ridiculous. God, there's some good drivers out there. And Dusty sells himself way short. I think it's really cool that a guy like him can come on to the class and say he learned something, because this guy wins a lot. So I think that's really, really cool. He's humble. He should be a damn instructor. So
yeah, that's good stuff.
I don't know about that, but
well, you know, we kind of took a year or two off from the stock car deal because we'd done so many of them, and then me and Wade got to talking, and Wade's always traveled. Everywhere we went, he had to get in an airplane or car and take off across the country for me, you know. So when he mentioned doing one, it was kind of I somewhat last minute, I guess you'd say, and there wasn't a good weekend because Valentine's and the Texas stock car deal was starting up, and then the following weekend there was another chassis school at another manufacturer. So, and then I think Mike was gone one weekend, but we decided to do it that week. And right in Wade's back door, he finally got sleeping in his own bed one night. his
That
wife
was
did.
nice. Yeah, yeah. Lo and behold, it's got to be 36 below. You know, epic cold, and yeah, we forged through it though. I mean, I was blown away by I mean, it was sellout crowd. It couldn't have been more better for me, other than, and I think everybody else, other than Brian had to beat the snow home. But I mean, now it worked out really, really well. We got pretty lucky, and I really appreciate you letting us do it. I know the guy that we did a shop at, he's like, man, I'm ready to do another one next week. So we'll see what
That's
happens.
good stuff. Well, with COVID this year, it
Yeah.
made it difficult on me. Me and Wade talked several times throughout the year. Man, I had the guys out in California and on the West Coast really want us to come out there. With that being a Democratic state, I'm like, man, we just can't chance it, And so, I sat down and looked at what classes I had scheduled and figured the best place to get them done was at a local shop. And then sometimes you run into issues, but you don't know the surroundings there. And like we had to rent a porta potty and a couple of things that, were a little bit different. But, that was the only way we were going to be able to do to keep the current presidency out of our business and be able to do them. Because you do them in a public setting, they want you to, sit across the world from each other and have on 3 masks and all that kind of stuff. And, that was some things that we were able to push through this year. And, bless her heart, Kate Dillon has traveled all across the country with me. And, she owns Credit Insider and I keep it full time, and among about 100 other things. She flew to Nebraska, left 60 degrees in North Carolina, flew to Nebraska -10. He told me, and I agreed with him. Robert told Wade, he said, next time we come to Nebraska, it's got to have some numbers in front of that before I come back. It needs to be 20, 30, 40 degrees.
Well, this was epic stuff. I mean, it was, well, I mean, literally a week and a half later, it was 60 degrees.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
You're talking 90 degrees warmer, 90 degrees warmer. So who knew? We just missed it by a week.
We had 10 inches of snow in Arkansas, and we ain't had 10 inches of snow in 5 years. So I completely get that. I mean, it was crazy. Dusty, kind of tell us where you raced at and what your plans are this year. What tracks you going to run? You running for championship? That stuff.
Yeah. I always want to. We've had quite a little success in the past and won the points a few times there and that. But now to roll back with what's Wade's saying, you kind of realize what pays the bills and doing this and doing that. But yeah, we'll run hopefully a full schedule at Boone County there in Albion. That's a Friday night show. Wagner Speedway up here, which I'm in Atkinson, Nebraska, which Wagner, South Dakota would only be about an hour 10 north of me. They just picked up IMCA this year, so I might try to get up there and give them a little support. It's a little bowl. It's a fast track, and South Dakota dirt's sticky and fast. So might try to do that, but been pretty faithful to Albion there, and we usually open, I guess, to back up the story. We open up the first few nights at off-road in Norfolk, and then Friday nights, I kind of like Friday night racing. You're in the work mode, and if you can get your stuff done, go in early, get your stuff done, get to work on the card. Go ahead for Albion Friday night. Leaves your Saturday open if you got family things to do. And yeah, so we're gonna for sure focus on Boone County there, and yeah, that's kind of going to be our home track, I should say.
Dusty, I know, and me and Wade hadn't talked a lot about it, but I get asked a lot. Batesville's got that big race this year. I think they're paying $50,000 for the stock cars. Is that something that you're looking at doing, or do you even talk that far out yet?
Where at? Did you say, Brian? It cut out. I'm sorry.
In Batesville, Arkansas, is that something that you're looking at doing at the end of the year? The big race they got.
I would absolutely love to. I mean, I think that would be an absolute blast, something like that, that would just take, the whole thing of getting away from home, around the family schedule and that. But yeah, that would definitely be fun. I'm not going to lie. We went to Abilene in 2011 and run that opener. And I mean, that was outstanding. That was fun. So traveling to the different states, seeing different different people, different tracks, different competitors, and where they're at with their programs, you know, is it's kind of fun to see, you know. So yeah, that would definitely be something I'd like to do. Can't guarantee you that'll happen.
Yeah. Well, I know that's a big talk. You know, I'm only about 4 hours from there, so I hope that I get to, you know, I'll get to make that and see a lot of you guys. I don't get to see race a lot other than maybe Boone Super every year. So I think, Wade, you got any opinion on that, on having a big race like that? Does that hurt the stock cars or does that help? What's the
Well, I mean, right now it's a good thing. I mean, there isn't anybody involved in the IMCA world that will not say that the stock car class is hands down the biggest thing they got going right now, because of a lot of it's the rule package, the fact that they're letting, you know, some of the really good B mod racers are running stock cars. They're letting A mod racers do it. IMCA's kind of changed that thing a little bit, letting them do stuff that they would never let them do before. So I mean, you're getting some great racing, and the cars are just they're equal, but they're better. Let's put it this way. I have a buddy of mine that runs up at you know, me and him go way back from the A mod days. His name's Tyler Iverson, and he got a stock car, and I mean, it was a nonchalant deal. Okay, and I talk about what he had told me, because I mean, me and him, we've known each other for a long time. We've been friends a long time, and we're a lot alike, driving style, things like that. We think a lot alike. And he straight up said, he said, this stock car deal, he said, when I got into it, he goes, these cars are actually overpowered compared to the A mods. See, since then we're talking 604 deal with the A mods, you know, because stuff that changed big time in about 2013 when the rules changed with the A mods. So that dynamic really threw a wrench in everything. And you know, since then you basically have to have a crate car to, a crate engine to even compete in the A mods now, because that's what Tyler had run forever, me as well. Well, I haven't ran a stock car yet, but you know, Tyler gets a stock car because he is from Albion, and he can run there every Friday night, you know, in front of his friends, and his parents are there, you know, grandparents, things like that. Tyler told me, he said, and he's gotten pretty dang good at it too. He told me, he says, these cars are so much more fun because he says, I feel like they're actually over horsepowered compared to the A mod, which I wasn't expecting, because I mean, the stock car popular engine is basically a spec 350 with a 2-barrel carburetor. Who would think that would be overpowered? But turns out the way the car drives and the way it reacts, and it's the car's actually, and you know, it's you know, that was the comment that Tyler Iverson had made. He had said, I feel like my right foot plays a bigger role than it has in a long time in the A mod class. So where the A mod class, basically you roll out on the track and this is what you get. You're gonna have to make the best of what you can. If you didn't roll out in the pit with the right setup in the car, you ain't winning. So the stock car, I feel like I can, even if I can't quite get the setup perfect, this is I play a bigger role than I do in the A mod. And I thought that was really, really neat. I like telling that story to guys, and it makes me want to get one really bad just because of that. But I think that's a really neat dynamic. And anyway, I don't know how Dusty feels about that, but
100% in agreement with him. They are. I mean, we don't have huge engines, but we have some power. And yeah, he's 100% right. 100%. I couldn't agree with him more.
Guys, everybody out there watching, we got quite a few viewers on. This is your chance to ask Wade any shot questions. I mean, I know somebody out there has got something they want to ask. So be sure to chime on. I can read all your messages when you type them in. So if you got something for Wade, this is your time.
Yep. And if you don't, you guys can always call or text or message or whatever. I mean, I know a lot of guys don't like talking in front of others. We get that a lot at the classes. That's why usually when it's break time or it's lunchtime or it's the end of the class, that's when we get our busiest.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm fine with that. I'm more than fine with that. So.
But, you know, if any of you guys do have a certain shot question on a certain type car or something that you're looking at, I also want this to be a little bit of education on Wade's part. It's hard to get him slowed down. You know, he doesn't have to come on here for about 30 minutes with me and drink his green beer.
Happy Patty's
So,
Day.
yeah, so happy St. Patty's Day. If, like I said, if you guys do have questions, go ahead and chime on. Wade, I think next year, I've had guys ask, are you already looking at classes next year? Man, my brain's always thinking. I've kind of took a few weeks off here. I had family things I needed to do and just a break because, I work a full-time job too. And man, it's just hard on me. I think 3 weekends ain't a big deal, but it's a year's worth of work. I have to wait for that, what it takes to be done. There'll definitely be another stock car class somewhere in the Midwest. I don't think we've got that figured out yet, but uh, we're definitely going to do it somewhere back door there where you can probably drive to it, not have to get in an airplane and drive. So there'll definitely be another stock car class, IMCA stock car class somewhere in the Midwest next year. I know some couple guys that come to Texas. Who knows? But the problem we run into midway, we talk about this a lot, is your time to do these is so narrow now because you've got PRI, and you got this big race down south, you got the race here, and it's just hard. You just got very few weekends to put it together. So we have to plan way ahead of time. And I always say this every class. I tell these guys about 6 months in advance when we're going to do them, and they all agree. Because I know if I ask them a month out, they're going to say I'm too busy. So I figure if I ask them 6 months out and they agree, then I know they'll be there. That's always a thing that we laugh about. Because usually it's a busy time of the year for you guys, especially in the shop business. Guys trying to get ready for the next year. Wade, something I've been asked a lot. I know there's a lot of problems right now getting parts. Steel's a big deal.
Yeah.
So are you having you see any issues in the shop world right now?
I can't even begin to tell you how bad it is trying to get parts. Basically, I buy a large amount of stuff at a shot because when I do that, I get free freight and these kind of things. It's taken what used to take a couple days to get stuff now. It's nothing for it to take 3 to 4 weeks to get. So I'm ordering and reordering before I've ever got my last order. And it's bad. It's really bad. So, and I know it's not just me. Anybody that's in any kind of industry, anybody that's in any kind of anything has got to be having problems. I like Dusty, body shop guy. I'm sure you guys have issues getting parts now because your suppliers simply don't have them. So what do? It's rough. It's been, to answer your question, it's horrible. And again, it's not just the racing industry. It's pretty much everywhere. And we can order and order and order, but we can only get what we can get. Luckily for me, I've been so vested in the shock world for so long. I have plan Bs and plan Cs for almost everything. Granted, you lose your margin, but providing the product will always trump profit any day of the week because I've been around long enough to know that you provide no matter what. You have to provide.
Yeah, and with
Absolutely.
And with Bristol going on now, you're really going to be busy in the next few weeks, I'm afraid, Wade.
Oh, it's been rough, but I'm pretty proud. I got some guys down there that's been pretty dang good. So I've had a lot of strange phone calls and a lot of weird setups down there. And I do it like I always do. Guys talk. I close my eyes. I come up with something, and here's what we come up with, and it usually works. And yeah, I've had a couple guys had some really bad nights, and then have turned around and had some really, really good nights just because we've been able to get stuff ironed out. So, but I'm guessing as much stuff as they're tearing up there, there's probably gonna be some stuff to fix, I'm guessing. So we'll get them taken care of regardless. So.
Wade, I don't know. Can you read the question on the screen right there? Can you see the same thing I'm looking at?
What's it say there?
I know that's kind of an open-ended question because you don't know what type of car he's running. But
yeah, because I got like 40 other questions to ask him.
Right.
But as a rule, in that particular thing, on bigger tracks, and actually this is what I'm finding even at Bristol, is getting rid of rear percentage. Been taking rear percentage out of the cars, and guys have been getting faster. But I think a lot of that, when it comes to the Bristol side of it, is some banking, because I run into guys complaining about they're fine in, but they're tight in the middle. So what they're having to do at Bristol is literally drive the hell out of the car to even keep it so it'll turn, which makes you really inconsistent. And what we've done to fix it, couple things: rear percentage, taking dynamic load out of the left rear. And when I mean dynamic load, I'm talking about dynamic, not static. And we do that by things like shorter, stiffer left rear spring, things like that. And it's been making the cars a gob better. That made the most sense to me. And then, I had a guy this morning message me. He said, I started 28th and finished 13th. And that was after we, freed him the hell up, and it was a left rear spring and rear percentage. And it's a shame he had to start 28th, because he clearly passed more cars than everybody else did. But, you can't break. You can't break these big shows. If you break, you start in the back of everything. So
true.
But,
True. Wade, I think we'll give a couple more minutes here. I know it's a Wednesday night. Everybody probably needs to get back to their family, but do you have any plans on any stock car stuff about racing anytime in the next year or two?
Okay, what was that, Brian? You broke up.
I'm sorry. I said, do you have any plans on racing a stock car any in the next year or two?
Oh, I really want to. I mean, I'm kind of vested with the A mod right now, and I mean, my heart's with the A mod, even though I honestly came from fenders. I mean, that's my first ever car I ever raced was when we basically built, and it was a full fender 72 Monte Carlo. Run at Donovan, Mid-Nebraska. Well, yeah, Donovan was at the time it was called Mid-Nebraska Speedway, or Mid-Continent Speedway.
Mid-Continent.
And Mid-Continent, yeah. And Larry and Karen Gregg owned it. And best dirt I've ever been on. Still today, the best dirt I ever been on. But anyway, I do love that stuff. I don't know. I think I need to get back into it. I'm hoping if I do, it'll still be fun. I mean, I'm hoping the stock car class is still fun by then, because I know how stuff gets. There isn't a lot of fun in racing at times, especially in lately, because it's so time consuming, so expensive, and everybody's so good. And I'm not taking anything away from the amazing talent that comes in. I mean, Jesus, what a 12-year-old kid won the 602s up there.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, I mean, me and that kid couldn't have grew up any different, So I mean, I don't even know what to say other than, wow, look at the talent this guy has. Other than that, and I'm hoping it'll still be fun. I really want to. I really do want to get one. I think from a business standpoint, it'd be a smart idea, because it's harder for me to talk to stock car guys and really get stuff ironed out, because I simply haven't sat in one enough or lately to tell you anything more. Now the mod guys, when they call up, or even late model guys, I know exactly what they're talking about. The stock car guys, luckily for me, I have so many of them involved. And I mean, I talk to so many different people every single day on the phone, and we walk through driving and feel and things like that. And I mean, it helps me, helps them, but I really probably need to be wheeling one if I can really probably improve a few things, I guess. So to answer your question, yeah, I need to be. I plan on it. We'll just see what happens. So.
Wait, we got one other question there for you. If you want to read it real quick, I think it's a little bit more in depth.
Again, about 5 more questions to answer, but as far as percentages goes, stock cars don't take a gob of it, and I think as cars that became more and more straighter running and more the front ends are a little better, you don't need as much rear percentage, because even though the front ends steer better, they also transfer weight better. It's a very generic number. 53%, if a factory stock would be factory stock, I mean, and here's another thing, what's a factory stock? Because I hear it.
I think it's probably a Texas factory stock, I bet, Wade. Down there, I think is what it's run.
Yeah, and if that's the case, I'm going to say in those, because I mean a lot of those guys are takeoffs, and well, no, are they take? I don't know.
I think most of them are on takeoffs down there. That's what I'm thinking it is.
Those tires, even though they're big, they're not very tractiony. So they need some love. They need some spike in the corners as far as planting and holding. As far as a spring and shock setup, rear percentage wise, you're probably going to be in that 54 range. I mean, that's where I would say.
Wait, we got a viewer here out of South Carolina said, you find yourself around South Carolina, he's got one of the Craig Racing USA freestyle rides for you.
I don't know. You got a seat big enough for me? Of course, I'm about a 16 now, so 16 and a half, 17, somewhere in there. So, but
he said he's running H500 on that factory.
That's a good tire. Yep, that's a real good tire. Good sidewall, good rollout. It lasts a while too. So, yeah, I'm going to tell you that's where you're going to be at. You're going to be around that 54% range, and that's going to be on your 3/8 to smaller as the size gets up bigger and bigger and bigger and the momentum comes up, you don't need that rear percentage because it hurts you in too many other spots on the track. You hold your breath getting into the corner, and yeah, you can put your foot down in the middle, but you still usually got to turn the corner 2 more times on a big track. So, and we only want to turn it once.
Right. Guys, it looks like it's kind of wrapping up here. Wade, once you, I do know one thing about you. You always answer your phone or you call back. I've known you for years, and that's one thing you pride yourself on that a lot of the other guys in the industry don't do a good job at. I know. Why don't you give your information out if you guys do have questions and that kind of thing they can call or and I tell everybody Wade's a open book guy, and I know we talk a lot that you probably get calls a day and 5 of them buy shocks, and I know that's okay too. You got to help everybody.
It all makes sense.
Give your info out so if guys got any questions they can call you if they're looking for a shock.
Sure. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. I've been doing this long enough. I mean, you can literally just Google my name and something will come up. I can assure you it won't be a prison sentence or anything like that. So thank God for that. But you can usually get a hold of me. I mean, I'm always on. Facebook's easy enough. My phone number is, you Google it, it'll come right up. FX suspension on Facebook. I'm horrible about updating it because I'm like the only administrator, but now I finally letting somebody else maybe do some of that. I'm hoping that she will, my wife, that is. And I think, she will. I've just got to tell her what to, kind of let's put some stuff up and let guys, what's going on. I'm probably the worst at self-promotion because I just simply don't like to hear myself talk. That's why I don't go and post all these pictures and, hey, this guy won this time. And man, I wish my guys I build shocks for would. They can tag me, they can anytime, because I mean nothing makes me happier when they're winning races and they send me pictures, things like that. I love it. But I'm bad about promoting you guys. So I would love you to promote yourselves, and you can use my name, you can use my Facebook account, you do whatever, I love that. And again, I'm easy to get a hold of. Just if you're shipping address is always available. I'm easy to get a hold of. Facebook's probably the easiest for everybody. So
right. Well, I think we got quite a few comments here. Guy said, I'd say this about Wade Cross. I put my name on his product. And I think it speaks highly, Wade. Me and you talked, and I know you've talked to your wife. I don't think you give yourself enough credit a lot of times of what you do for guys in the shock industry. And I've told you this. I've got requests over the years from a lot of shock guys want to be a part of this class. And as long as Wade Cross is still willing to do it with me, that's who I'm going to have because I believe in what he does. I believe in his products, and I see what you do out there for guys, helping them. And you help guys only buy your own stuff. So, that says a lot about your personality and your integrity. I mean, that's something I try to pride myself on is who I'm dealing with and who I'm doing these classes with. And you know, are you willing to get back to racing? It's hard. I mean, believe me, many's I sat through, I ought to be able to teach one at some point. So before long, these guys ask me how to move their J bar. I'm going to tell them one of these days, and hope I don't send them out in the grandstands or something. But Wade, like I said, I know you don't give yourself enough credit on what you do, and something I always say, you see guys on Facebook 24/7 that are pumping their chest about whatever chassis or shock or whatever. I've kind of got a conception of that. They ought to be in the shock room building shocks instead of putting some pretty sticker on a shock somewhere. I can't remember that saying that Dave Hammond had, something about a sticker liquor or something. I don't remember. If you remember that thing, he said, there's a lot more to it, and I've learned a lot. The last 3 years, probably the shock deal. That's why we focus so heavy on in these classes, with Robbie and you and some different guys through the years, is because, man, I know they say shock can't win or lose a race, and sometimes I don't know if I agree with that or not, because I've seen guys out in left field on the wrong set of shock, So I think Dusty will probably even agree with that.
I was just gonna say I definitely argue that all day long. The shocks. I mean, a good shock guy is worth as much as a good motor guy in my world. I mean, they are. It's advanced so much, and you get a good shot guy, and that's where it's at. I truthfully feel that, and he's right here in the middle of the screen.
Too kind.
Well, guys, listen, I appreciate you being on. We've been on about an hour, and Dusty, I know you and your wife said this wasn't your deal, to get on and be on live, but I think it's important for racing to see some of you guys. I think it's important to me that own Racelogic to do this kind of broadcast and bring different people in the industry, to keep giving back throughout the year. So, I think it's important to do these and try to get you guys on and some of your wins, your successes and all. And, hopefully we can keep doing these for a long time. Wait, let's answer this one last question, and then I'll let you off. If you want to read it real quick. I hate to leave anybody hanging.
I do get this one a lot. Depending on the car. Okay, now if I'm doing a G-body car, I do like about 5 shocks. If it's a modified, it could be anywhere from 6 shocks, depending, because a lot of times we'll do some right rear changing, and it seems like it always ends up with about 5 or 6, and then sometimes it winds up adding a few. But I'm not big on selling a guy, here's 8 shocks that you need. Because if you go to do that, what happens is you get about 3 or 4 shocks that never get on a car. They just hang in the trailer, and they cost that guy a bunch of money that he didn't need to spend. As far as changing shocks, changing wise, I'm big on when it comes to G-body stuff. If we're talking stock car stuff, left rear is a big tuner on those cars. I almost feel right front tuning is almost driver preference, because it plays into so many other things, whether it's right rear spring load, and then when we get into right rear spring load, we also have to pay attention to right rear shock controlling the load, and then how much we want to hang on to the left front or let the left front go, because that controls the load on the right rear too, has a bearing on it. So again, 100 questions. I mean, there's no cookie cutter answer, and that's why I press you guys. Call me, text me anytime. If you guys need your stuff ironed out, I mean, I'd like to think I can at least point you in a direction. I guess my biggest thing, and I preach this at the classes: know your car. I mean, if you're gonna call me or you're gonna call anybody, know your car, know everything. Know what spring you're running. Know what shock you're running. Know if your suspension bushings are wore out. Know if you've got a bent spindle on the thing. Know these things. Know if your rear end's square. Know these things, because it shores up and makes things a lot easier. That way you're not chasing. So I mean, that's probably the best way I can answer anything. So
yeah, and I'll add this last thing. I know I've heard Wade say at every class, and all your shock builders always say this: if you call a shock builder and he's got 4 shocks on the shelf waiting on you, and he don't ask you anything about your car, you didn't call the right shop builder. You're going to call somebody else. I know, Cash Wilson bought a set from you, and he said that's probably the most intense conversation he's ever had with a shop builder. I think you want to know I think you maybe want to know what size belt he ran at the end of it,
Yeah, that was for his A-mod. So his USMTS car. Yeah, I definitely wanted to know some stuff, but I think we got him fixed up. He seems pretty happy. So
yeah, he's got a good product there. I'll end this by saying, I know I've had some guys ask me, if anybody wants to buy any of the online classes, you can do it at racelogic.vip. You can buy just the IMCA stock car class, or you can bundle the street stock class we done in Alabama with a high roller and this one just for $100 more. If you want to get best of both worlds, I know a lot of things interchange and some don't. They run bump stops and different stuff. You guys can't do that, but if you want to do that, you can go to racelogic.vip and buy it. You can rewind it, fast forward, watch segments. It's all segmented. Kate does a phenomenal job with that. And you guys can watch any of that. And then next weekend, off the side of the world, I'll have Bryce Hall on from USRA. He'll be live from Humboldt. I know they got that $20,000 King of America race going on. And got to know Bryce several years ago. And a great guy, and USRA and USMTS. He's an announcer for USMTS. So you'll recognize his voice when he gets on, and he'll talk about the USRA world. I know we had some of them guys from up north, Josh Zeman, and some of them that came into the IMCA stock car, because I know there's a lot of similarities between the IMCA stock car and the USRA. He'll be on next. Listen, guys, Dusty, I know you need to get back to your family, and Wade, tell the missus I appreciate you getting on with me, and I'll definitely have you guys back on time throughout the year. And just keep me posted on your season and what you learned, what you've done, and hopefully you get out and get a bunch of wins. And Wade, hopefully you get some sleep in a few weeks. And,
I can't wait. It'll be good. I'll probably won't be till about October, but that's about times things slow down. So
listen, guys, I appreciate your time and you being on, and hopefully we get viewers, out there that don't get to see some of you guys that come through these classes and instructors get to see a little different side of more personal setting. And we'll see you guys in a few weeks. And once again, I appreciate everybody being on.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for the opportunity to be on here, Brian. Appreciate it. Thanks, Wade.
Yes. Thank you, guys. We'll see you.
See ya.
See ya.